Aldelly. I'm a daughter of an immigrant. I'm a mother, a wife, a sister, a friend. And now I get to add a disabled person, quote
Mm.
unquote, to the list. I don't let it define me, but it definitely is part of who I am now. And I'm just an open book and learning how to live my life every day.
Great. So you say you're a disabled person, but I think you're a special person. And with that said, how did you find out in your journey? Like how did you find out in your journey that you had this immune deficiency, I would say? I don't know the exact term for
Autoimmune,
it.
yeah, like an
Yeah.
autoimmune disease.
But explain to us like how did you find out about it? What were you going through? And when you found out, how you dealt with it? Like what were your challenges and then how you were able to overcome those challenges?
So I think before I get to that point, I kind of
Yeah.
want to give you a life spectrum of how I,
Yes.
got to even there. So I had a really normal life, really Dominican parents, like just a regular upbringing. I danced ballet and I danced. That's how I saw Sofritos, what Sofrito speaks because I used to dance with Rue, um,
Oh,
the same
okay.
dance academy. And I did it for 12 years, went to performing arts high school, and then, ended up transferring out of there. Dance was a big part of my life when I was younger. And then I went on to college and took on a lot of stress that I didn't even know what stress even felt like because high school was like a breeze. High school was like a joke, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it's true.
And in college, I kind of grew up and took a lot of what stress is, and I didn't know how to stress manage. It's not something that's taught in the
Mhm.
parent handbook of Dominican culture, let alone the parent handbook. Like, this is how you
Yeah.
handle stress and things like that.
And they don't think our stress is
Nope.
valid. It was like, that's
Yeah,
not stress.
Exactly.
una pendeja.
Yeah.
Exacto. Tú eres una pendeja. Just deal with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it just was like, I always had a lot going on. I've been working since I was 16 years old. So I've
Mhm.
always like been a busy person. I've never have been like sitting down just to relax and like I don't know what to do with myself.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, we gotta redecorate it. We gotta do something. We're gonna move furniture. Do something, right? So when finally I met my husband, we had our first child while I was in college. Still went to college, finished college, was working a really good job, was buying my first home, and was finishing college already at being a mother of two. Um,
Not to interrupt you, what did you study in college and did you want to pursue ballet as a career?
so once I figured out that the body is too Dominican to be American ballet, I was like, forget that.
Word.
I was like, this is
I
not
danced too. So I
this.
had the big hips and I was like, oh, I don't look like you.
Yeah, I was like, this is not gonna work. So Amala Merengue is gonna be, right? So I knew like once I was like 19, 18, I was like, this was fun while it lasted, but this is not
Yeah.
what I wanted to do. And I went into college because my mom was like, I'm gonna beat you if you don't go,
Right.
basically. So I ended up going. And I really kind of like found out what I like. I dipped into different studies, but I ended up
Mhm.
studying only Spanish professionalism and linguistics
Mm.
with a
Okay.
minor in social work. And it was basically to better my own Spanish. I didn't
Okay.
really want to be a Spanish teacher, but I like the life of law. I like the life of translation. I like the linguistics and the different dialects of all the languages, even though it's the same language, Spanish.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you guys know it's a big variation of Spanish.
Exactly.
And so I really went into it. Just in the
Just
further
not to get beat by your mom.
that's true, right? Not to get beat, but I got beat by Sally Mae.
Like,
Oh,
that's a
oh.
bigger beating. That's a lifetime beating.
Okay.
Word.
So really, and then growing up, we experience in this culture. We see firsthand what our parents go through with
Mhm.
like racism and all this other stuff. So I was like, I really want to go into law and like defend things that like my mother went through,
Mhm.
and just do things like that. And I'm a very passionate person. Like, if we're friends, we're sisters. Like, I can't just be like a friend from afar and like not care about you.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
like, if I'm gonna help you with a project, like we're gonna do this down to like the skin's coming out of my bones, everything. So
Mhm.
I'm very passionate, and so I really wanted to get into law to help immigrants and do all that stuff and help my community out because at the end of the day, I grew up in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And there's a lot of
That's
immigrants
different.
here.
And a lot of Dominicans, right?
A lot of them, a lot of everything. But
From
but
what
yeah,
I've heard.
yeah. So I grew up in the 90s here.
Mm.
And I just saw a lot of things that really affected my mindset. And so I wanted to go into law.
Mhm.
I didn't know that when I went into college, but like once I started seeing the reality, I was like, ooh, I know how to argue real quick and bop the head and do all that. And I really like nobody can make me cry. So
Wow, my Dominican side is coming out real good with law.
yeah,
I can use this.
oh, I see no, you know. So yeah, so I wanted to do that, but in 2013, I noticed that I had a limp in my leg. I was working in Boston, which is like an hour away, but with traffic, sometimes it was like 2 hours.
Mm.
And I noticed I started getting limps in my leg, and I was like, damn. And I was never a person to go to the doctors. Hell no, you couldn't even get a flu shot on me. Like, I didn't even have a regular PCP. I didn't even know what that was. I was like, what? So I started limping, and I was that girl that was always in heels, by the way. Like, my friends, I'm like that fabulous person.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of came up with the fab and mo. Because they're like, no matter how messed up or fucked up you are, you always like dress up. I was like, antes muerta que sencilla. Okay. That's what my mom taught me, and that's how it is, and that's how it's always be till the day I die. So I started noticing like a limp, and so I was like, fine, I gotta go to the doctor. The doctor was like, oh, so I think something's wrong with you, like, you know, the way your foot is, like your foots are dented in, you don't have an arch. They came up with a whole bunch of stuff, got a CAT scan, nothing, everything was fine. And I was like, I really have a pain in my leg. I'm dragging, I can't walk in heels.
Yeah.
Serious, because at this point I was working like at a really important office. And I had to like dress up. And part of my dressing up was heels, you know?
Yeah.
Shit, we're gonna look cute, we're gonna work, right?
That's right.
And then and then basically then I started peeing my bed out of nowhere.
It would
And I
just
didn't
come
even know.
out like when you're pregnant.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, what's going on? And it was just like I would wake up and my bed was wet. And
Oh
I'm like,
wow.
I was like, were you drinking? Like I was like, what's going on?
Why did you pee on me? Like,
It was literally like we would wake up and I was like, why is this wet?
what kind of freaky
What?
shit are you doing at night when I'm asleep? Can you stop it?
What fetish?
Can
do
you
have?
warn me, please?
Yo, no joke. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And then
Oh
like
my
I started noticing, I'm like, oh, I'm wet. My underwear is wet. And I'm like, what the hell? So
Wow.
then I was like, all right, my mom, and you know, like all these things, like, oh, that's because you gave birth naturally, your bladder drops, blah, blah, blah. All right.
Right.
Go to the doctor.
Which makes sense though. It does,
that-
like,
but not to wet your bed like that.
Yeah, I was like, what? This happened? When did this get wet?
Word.
Yeah.
So then, you know, and it's funny because I say it now like nothing. Before I used to be so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm peeing my bed at like 24 years old.
You'd be surprised how many people pee in their bed for like just
Still.
like either for fun or they're like, fuck it, I'm not waking up. The dream is I'm having a dream right now to pee, but I'm not getting up.
So then I went to a urologist. They sent me to a urologist, and they were like, everything's fine. You're just having like your bladder is fine. It's not falling.
Yeah.
You know, and they were like, you're just not holding. You're just not holding it good enough, or whatever. They gave me pills to kind of like relax my bladder.
Oh my
So
God.
another medicine for a different thing.
Yeah.
All right. Time passes on, and I'm like peeing myself at this point. Like I'm wearing almost like adult-sized diapers, like not to go to the bathroom because I'm like, mierda.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
How often did this happen? Like when you wake up and there's pee like all over the place?
I was like, well, I would kind of control my intake so that wouldn't happen. So like,
Oh,
I was like
damn.
really embarrassed by that because it would happen to me anywhere at this point. Like when that started happening, I would be in college. And I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Boom.
Oh,
Literally, I
wow.
see the toilet and the pee's already coming out.
Damn.
Wow.
You're already incontinence. So then that was pretty embarrassing a few times. But then I was
And
at
scary too.
very
right?
scary. But then at one point I was like, man, I don't really care at this point.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You just meet friends like, listen, we're gonna be friends.
Depends.
Sometimes I pee on
Me and
myself.
Depends on friends.
yeah.
And you might get wet, not because I want to pee on you, but it just
I have
happens.
to tell you this side story. So I don't know if you guys know who Wasson Brazoban is. It's a Dominican, like, bohemian type of artist.
No, you pee on them?
No,
Oh.
no. But I
sounds
sat
familiar.
through a whole concert peed because I was not about to get up. I was like,
And you were able to hold it?
No, she
Oh,
just
you
said she
had the
peed.
pants on.
I wore black pants to that concert. I put on extra, stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not getting up. I'm taking all that concert. I'm
Yo,
gonna enjoy
not
that.
for nothing.
Hey.
I'm kind of jealous that you get to pee on yourself and like enjoy a concert. I would have loved to fucking do that.
I was so hot and like half drunk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm done. Somebody carry me because
Yeah,
I couldn't do it.
that's great. That is a great
And
story. Though.
that happened, and then my walking kept getting worse. Like I just kept I would my right foot would go up, and then my left foot would drag. I just looked retarded walking, and then it just was weird. And then I had an event at work, and the other thing too, I was getting migraines. I had never in my life gotten migraines. I thought somebody shot my head. I don't know what the hell was going on. I was like, what is this? Like I couldn't see. It was just weird.
So it was like limping, peeing, migraines, like all these things.
I'm like, no, I'm not crazy. So I called my PCP one day because at this point we're getting cool because of how many times I'm calling her.
Yeah.
Like I had her personal number at this point. I was like, what do you want to say? She was a body. My PCP. I was like, hey, look at the way I say. Listen to what I'm gonna tell you right now. Yo no me estoy volviendo loca. Something's going on. I'm peeing myself at work. I can't do my job. I'm like, I was falling asleep on the wheel because I was so fatigued. I would literally have to stop and shop. Like stop at a Target and shop. That was good, right?
Yeah, but then you spend $200 every time that happens because Target gets you. You could go for one thing. You come out with like 100 Depend diapers.
And I'd be like, to my husband, can you come outside and take this chair out of my car? Were you working or what were you doing? I was like, well, I had to wake up. I was falling asleep.
Wow.
So it was like a whole bunch of stuff, like the fatigue, the peeing on myself was just insane. I was like, this is retarded. The walking, I literally went from walking in heels to like walking in flats in less than like 5 months. Oh, wow. Like I just couldn't do it. Which I didn't mind because I was like running around all the time. And so finally when I called her and was like, yo, something's wrong. Like something is wrong. She's like, all right, I'm going to do something and I'm going to send you somewhere. And like, since me and her, like, are cool. She was like, all right, whatever. Just tell me where you got to send me. And I just clicked. I never asked her where. And I asked her what. She just sent me the address and was like, show up. When I walk into this office, I see neurologists. Mm-hmm. I had no clue what that was. I was like, pero tú crees que yo soy loca? Like, you think I'm crazy? She was like, I'm not sending you to a psycho. Yeah. And I'm like, well, it's the same thing. It's the brain. Like, it's the same thing. I have no clue what this is. I was like, you really think I'm crazy? But she's like, don't worry, just try it out. Like, I literally called her when I was there for the appointment. I'm like, I'm not gonna see this guy. This is for crazy. Like, I had no clue. I didn't know the difference. I'd never done this. She's like, go see him. I'm like, fine. I go see this man. Ay, Dios, perdóname. Bad judgy, right?
Yeah. I would be too. This is my first time going to that. You just being honest.
It was like an older white gentleman, on the big glasses and this and like 100 books behind him. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, he must think I'm crazy as fuck. He's like, oh, do this, walk, touch your nose to my hand, like do different things. And I was like, what the hell is me touching my nose to your finger? I have to do with anything. But he's like, I know what you got, but you need to do an MRI. And I'm like, but like, what is it? What do you think? He's like, I don't want to confirm until you do the MRI. Wow, this is the first time I'm going to MRI. And from what I've heard,
MRI in your brain?
MRI for the brain, for the thoracic and lumbar and all that stuff. So basically the whole spinal cord and the brain. And I've heard that the MRIs are like caskets, basically.
Yeah, I've been there many times.
Those things are
scary. You just go in there and like you can't breathe.
We're like best friends.
Oh my God. Yo, I literally had a panic attack. I was like hyperventilating. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. They were like, no, here's a blind.
They didn't sedate you?
No, because I didn't know. Like, they didn't do anything. They even metieron ahí a lo loco.
Mm.
And they gave me a blindfold finally because I was like, I'm gonna throw up in here. This is like,
Wow.
I can't. Okay, so I go do the MRI, whatever. I didn't think about it. I was like, I just died and came back. Like that's literally death. Like you can't even move your arm up in there.
Yeah,
Nope.
it is.
So 2 weeks passed by from the MRI, and I got a random phone call at 7:00 at night. I'll never forget this, on a Thursday night after I come back.
2 weeks?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
from 2 weeks. I come back from work. Of course, I stop by Target, do my little shopping because I don't fall asleep. And it's like 7:00 at night. He's like, oh, I want to speak to so and so, and I'm like, okay, who's this? He's like, oh, this is Doctor So and so, and I'm like, I was like, I'm done. Who the hell calls at 7:00 at night to let you know you have something? Like, I was like, I'm done. I'm like, I have a cancer. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta get life insurance. I gotta go. Like literally all these thoughts, like just like ran like a train. I was like, why would you be calling me at this time? Like you couldn't just make an appointment like a regular doctor. And
Yeah.
he's like, well, I think I found the cause of what's making you have all this symptom and stuff. You have something called NeuroMyelitis Optica. It's something like MS. And I'm like, el qué? My man, you got the wrong paperwork.
I still can't pronounce it.
I was like, you got the wrong paperwork. And so he's like, I recommend that we do this and this and that. And, your lesions are are basically in my thoracic, which is behind my neck, between like the neck and like the broad line. And he's like, and, we can talk about it more if you come in the office. And I was like, why would you even call me? And I talk about it now. Like, don't tell me to Google it because I used to Google everything all the time. I didn't Google it.
Yeah, hold on.
So, nothing. I mean, that was like a shocker. I was like, no, I don't believe that. My mom definitely was like, eso mentira. Eso mentira. You don't have that. Bebe tu té, you'll be fine.
No, pon esto y esto. They'll give you herbs to do. Eso lo quita.
Girl. So then I went to another neurologist and they said the same thing. They were like, you do have this. You have the lesions there. It's like, I don't believe you. I went to 4 different neurologists.
Wow.
Hey, well, you want to make sure.
Yeah. And so finally, like the 4th one was like, we need to do what's called the spinal tap on you to confirm.
That's so scary.
I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, do it. What? When I got in there and I saw the needle the size of my arm, I was like, what the hell?
I heard.
Because I really was not trying to research because I'm like, this is
okay.
So they did that. That was like an experience on its own because I've had an epidural with my birthing situations, but I didn't see that. I don't remember that. So then nothing. I was like, all right, I have the NMO. So what? What's next? Exactly. So then he was like, oh, just find out here's some information on it, read up on it. Meanwhile, we're going to start you in a chemo-based treatment, which is supposed to kind of like slow down the progression of the disease. I was like, still like a disease. Like, who's sick here?
Right.
Yeah. I was still living my life. And then I didn't really care. So I got my first chemo and it wasn't that bad. It was just like an 8-hour, like basically IV drug that gets put into you. And I got a whole bunch of steroids. I almost made it to like, I'm like 140. I made it to like 200 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I blew up like, those blow up fishes. Like, I had no clue. I was like, why is this stuff not fitting? Like, I was like, why am I hungry? I'm like, y'all could have told me like I was going to gain weight. So I just closed my mouth, So nothing that happened. And I just couldn't believe it. And I couldn't sit still. So the final year of college, while I was, working full time, while I had 2 kids, buying my first home with my husband, it just like hit. And when my graduation came, time for graduation, in the video, you can see me limping already.
Yeah.
That started getting to me because I'm like, damn, I look so retarded. I look fat as fuck because like I'm gaining all this weight.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps asking me what's wrong with me. And it's not as simple as, oh, I have an MO. I just be like, oh, I twisted my ankle.
Yeah.
Or I fell down.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just wasn't ready.
I didn't want to explain it.
I didn't want to explain it. I didn't want to like share anything. I just was like, I don't really want to talk about it because ni yo se lo cabera.
Yeah.
So I really didn't have the time to inform myself and educate myself on what the actual disease was.
Okay.
And when that happened, I just was like, I wasn't even thinking about it because I was like in the middle of buying a house, in the middle of graduating. I had a 1-year-old at the time, a 5-year-old, a whole lot of shopping for the house, and we were redoing the kitchen. We were doing everything, so I didn't have time to think about it.
When did that hit you? When it finally started realizations, like things got worse, and like, you know what, I gotta start looking into some type of solutions, and two, find a way to like live with this, because at the end of the day, no matter how much I tried to live life and block it and just roll with the punches, is actually catching up to me even more, and I can't neglect this anymore. When did that happen for you?
So I think it's still happening. It's something that like it still is like, boom, bitch, here you go. This is what you got, you know?
Yeah.
So I got officially diagnosed in 2016 after 2013. So what, 3 years after already dealing with all the symptoms and things like that. So I officially got diagnosed in 2016. 2017 is when like everything happened of the purchasing of the house and everything and graduating college. I was already working a very successful job. And after I graduated college, my husband and I started a business. So like, again, I just wasn't putting mind to it. And so finally in 2018, I want to say, I was like, this is bullshit. Like, I cannot drive into the city. I'm falling asleep. I'm gonna get into a car accident. I can't be a mom to my kids. And it was crazy because it was reflecting off my kids and I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
So my little one was being bad as shit at daycare. He was throwing chairs, like he was being bad. He was just emotionally just not stable. And it was because he was having like these speech issues. But it's because I wasn't taking the time. Also, I blame a lot of it on me because I'm like, I wasn't taking the time to read him a book. And I wasn't taking the time because I was always like that superwoman on the go, 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 go. And any of my friends can tell you that I never stopped. Like I just was like, go, go, go. Like, how are we gonna get this money? What are we gonna do? There's some like, you know, not many gonna like
everywhere, but not everywhere, but not really focusing on the.
Yes, I was
but you also had that thing that you're dealing with too. I think also you just got used to. You also got used to running from everything and not facing a lot of things. Not because look, at the end of the day, it's tough to face a lot of things that you have to face, you know, and running was the easiest option to like, what's tomorrow? What's the next task? What's this? What's that?
Exactly.
And rather than this thing says, okay, well, I'm going to get worse and I'm going to have to sit your ass down and you're going to have to face it.
So there was this one Thanksgiving I had to do in my house. It was my turn to do like the holidays. And I spent all day cooking, woke up at like 5 a.m. to put that pernil in. Like it was just like all day me, you know?
Nice.
And by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I always tell my husband every Thanksgiving, I'm like, yo, you remember that Thanksgiving that at 5 o'clock, I was just straight up crying in the room because everything in my body hurt. I was so fatigued. I couldn't even walk. And I want to say that was 2018. Yeah, that was 2018. And I just, after Thanksgiving, everybody started coming to my house because, you know, we do Thanksgiving like after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So running late and shit.
Yeah.
And they'll say, I couldn't do it. I was like, we need to figure something out. I can't do this. Like, I cannot. Like, mentally, it's taking a toll on me. And I'm like, depression is creeping up in the back. I had no clue what depression was or anything of that nature because I didn't have time for that.
Yeah.
And all this stuff was building up and I didn't know it was building up. And then finally, after that Thanksgiving, I was like, I'm going to go part-time. Like, we're good. We're financially good. We're like stable. We have what we need to have. We're good. I'm going to go step down a notch and let's see what happens. And so I stepped it down a notch. We had never had taken a vacation. That's another one. Like, because we were always like on the go, go, go. So finally we decided to take, you know what, let's take a family vacation. Let's go to the Dominican. We had family we hadn't seen in years. I was like, it's time to take the kids so the kids can know their culture and stuff like that. And literally when we came back from the vacation, I don't know what happened in that vacation. We went to the Dominican Republic and I don't know if you guys been, but I mean, when you go to those places, everybody's so happy. Everybody's so like willing to do stuff for you. Like it's just a different and a happy vibe. And I'm like, this is what I want. I want to be happy all the time. I want to be at peace. I don't want no problems like this. Like, like I don't want to think about work tomorrow, because work tomorrow for those people is like the del trabajo, we're gonna go to the beach and eat or whatever,
Yeah.
So once we came back, I was like, I wanna relax. I've been working so hard. I just did this college thing. Like I just, meanwhile, in the back, I was already applying to law school.
Oh.
So I had law school application there, and then I was like, do I really want to take the time off? So my husband was like, take time off, figure out what's going on with you, and don't worry about it. Like, let's just do what we gotta do. And literally, my kids' behavior started going better. They started behaving better. And I just took the time to actually research what NeuroMyelitis Optica was, reach out to people, which was so hard because this is such a rare disease. Like right now, only 4,000 people in the US have it. Out of the 327 billion people, only 4,000 people have this disease. And it's often misdiagnosed as multiple sclerosis, which is kind of, more well known than NMO. And so I really did my research and sat down. I was like, I'm an educated person. Like I can do this, right? I was like, there has to be something out there that's not steroids, because it's causing me to gain all this weight. And it was driving me nuts emotionally, the medicines, right? So finally, I stay home. I started staying home, and I'm like, I don't know how these at home all this could do it, because I could never. Like, I need to be doing something. I need to I'm like, my fingers need to be cooking. I need to do something. But then I was enjoying my time home, because I'm like, oh, this is nice. There's nice home cooked meal already made from when my family comes home. This is actually nice. So then, I got to spend more time with my kids, with my husband. We did more traveling and things of that nature. And so as I started reading, I found out that there wasn't enough people for me to reach out to.
Okay.
To be like, oh, what are you going through? How does that, is it the same as me? And so at the same time, I was going to get my nails done and getting myself done. So everybody who I would see around town would be like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, oh, it's just a ankle. Bye. So finally, there was this last straw that I ran into somebody who I hadn't seen in years. I think since middle school. He's like, yo, you good? And I'm like, yeah, I got into a car accident, because at this point I was really walking bad. I was like, yeah, and I had crutches, and I was like, yeah, I just got into a car accident, but I was getting my nails done, so I'll talk to you later. Bye. Yeah. Try to avoid that conversation. And that in 2019, summer of 2019, I was telling my husband, I was like, I'm gonna just come out the closet and say what I have. Yeah. Because I'm so tired of everybody asking me, and so many people giving me recipes on how to get better on something that's not true. Yeah. I'm tired of lying. Why should I have to lie? Why don't you get educated on what I have going on?
How freeing was that for you? Yes. What did that provide for you to be honest with yourself and to the world?
That was amazing. Once I decided to just convert my Instagram into Fab NMO, which is short for Fabulously Living with NeuroMyelitis Optica. And I just made a few live videos on my Facebook, and I was like, listen, this is what I'm going through. So if you see me, don't ask anything, type of video, and just
go to my social media.
Just go to my social media, or just, Fabulous, NMO stands for this and this. And then I had to do it in Spanish, because, my mom, all up in Facebook. I'm like, I hate Facebook. My whole damn family up in there. And so it felt like I lifted a weight off my shoulder, because I don't have to be something I'm not to accommodate your comfort level. To be like, oh, okay, she just got into a car accident, she'll be better. No, this is something that has no cure, that we don't even know how it happens. I'm the first person in my family so far that has this, and it's not hereditary, supposedly. But it's such a young disease that, this was differentiated from MS only 15, 20, 25 years ago. It's a baby disease compared to other stuff, diabetes in reality is a disease, and it's been around forever, and there's stuff to help you cure it. But this is not a curable disease. And so that was like a very hard pill to swallow. Like, I'm never going to get cured. Like, basically one of the neuros were like, you just need to get a wheelchair and get like another style home, because my home is a Cape style home where I have multi-levels. Like, she was like, you should just sell your house and buy a new home. I was like, yeah, because you got the down payment for it,
This
right?
is why I don't like fucking doctors myself. Not everyone deserves to be a fucking doctor.
No.
There's a way of saying that and also be supportive. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you know what? Just throw in a towel because you're gonna keep peeing yourself.
Yeah, one of the doctors was like, you should just get a wheelchair and sell your home. And I'm like,
and that's what we're like, you know what? You could go fuck yourself. How about that?
Yeah,
When's the next appointment? Because I'm not coming.
yeah. And so that's when I started, like, I was like, well, why? Like, that's when my patient advocacy tool also came into play. Because I was like, well, if you're not, like, I literally respond back. Because if I respond back to my mother, like, who are you as a doctor to me?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
you're not God. And so that's when I started differentiating those doctors that think that they were God, and those doctors that were like, cool, let me help you out, It's just, it's so important to find a good team of doctors that you can be like, this is going on, what do you think? Instead of like, don't call me or call the ER or do whatever, because there are a lot of asshole doctors and there's a lot of good doctors out there.
No compassion. Yep.
Yeah. So it just, it became at that point when I started learning about NeuroMyelitis Optica, it was like, all right, who can I reach out to? So there is this organization called Guthrie Jackson Foundation, and they're just for NMO. The daughter of the person who has this foundation has an MO. And so I went out to patient day. They have a patient day, kind of like where everybody who has an MO gets to go out, learn more about it, and just meet up with other people who have the disease. And mija, cuando yo te digo a ti that I came out of there like more depressed de la cuenta. I was mad depressed coming out of there.
I thought that would be like
Me
helpful.
Too. I thought it was helpful because you got to see people.
It was helpful, but like I wasn't in a wheelchair, or I'm not.
Okay.
And so I saw people in wheelchairs and blind people, and I was like, "Oh my God, is that how I'm gonna get?" Like I was like, "Oh hell no!" And so my mom went with me too to this conference because it was in California, and so it was very.
But let me ask you a deep question real quick. Have you accepted the fact? Not saying that could be a reality, and have you accepted the fact that maybe down the road, not saying I'm not jinxing anything, you know what I'm saying? Because you are always going to find ways and solutions. But have you accepted the fact, okay, if that is the route, then I'll accept that when it comes, but I'm going to fight it until the very end. Because seeing that I would be defensive too. I was like, get out of here. Like, I'm not going to be like that, blah, blah. I'm good now. I still could do this. I ain't peeing on myself, so I'm good, But there's also sometimes this realistic thing. It's like, well, that could be an option. Yeah. That could be an option. That's something I'm going to have to live with that. Not because I want to put myself there. It's just that living with this, I have to know that like that might be an option. Have you come to terms with that? Or you're just like, I'm just going to keep fighting it and to find ways to how I can deal with this.
So I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter to the end. I've come to terms with that can be something that might happen, but I don't really see it happening in my future.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard to swallow that pill that today you're walking. Like you guys, you don't think about it. You don't think about how much muscle work it takes for you to walk to your car and even drive your car. Okay. And so part of the leg, basically dragging was my legs were always spasming and spasming. So basically I was always having a Charlie horse. And it was creeping up all the way to the left side of my torso. So I would literally wake up and I'd be like, oh, good morning. And like at like 12, I would be like straight, but I'd still walk like a penguin. So, I did things like take muscle relaxers, which would knock me out. Literally, I would make dinner and sleep while the kids were eating dinner. And I still was like, hell no, I'm not doing like a wheelchair, or hell no, I'm not getting crutch, or I'm not getting a walker. Are you crazy? I'm not doing that. I'm like, when have you seen a cute ass bitch in a wheelchair like that?
Yeah.
But that's just like my
Yeah,
gut that's coming out of me right there.
that's their fighter
My
spirit.
little ratchetness coming out.
Yeah.
Like, why are you flicking us, bitch? No, get out of here. I'm like, damn, man, in the heels in a wheelchair.
But
But
what I like about this is that you are living in your truth, and showing that this is what I go through each and every day. Some days are good, some days are bad. That could be an option, but that's not an option today, not going to be an option in my head next week, because I'm gonna keep on pushing it. And that's something that a lot of people should have in their mind, to when something like this happens, or any type of thing. And I can relate when, like, we take a lot of things for granted. We don't know what, like, even just doing like this, how much that takes, because I remember when I had knee surgery, I had to learn how to walk again. And I didn't, and I was, that to me, it was just like, wow, I didn't know, like, walking was this like hard to do. And it took so much. And even learning how to balance my weight on both legs now, there was like, you need to stop leaning on one side of the leg because you're scared to use the other one. Like, you start realizing a lot of things about, and then how weak it was. And and then you go through it and you learn from it. And then it's just like in life, you just get used to it again. You forget that, like, just to even see, it's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Or to breathe, it's it's a blessing. I
But
want go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I want to ask, you know, you went out there and you found things, resources to help you understand about your condition, and then you did a lot of the legwork too to inform yourself and find solutions for yourself. Um, how beneficial was this community that you built to share with others, and how has that helped other people to get to know about your story, or maybe they've been living with it, or now they're aware of these things? Like, what was the impact now of you creating this community after you informed yourself and aligned all the correct people around you to learn from?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because when I decided to come out and say, hey, I got NMO, and try and build, I don't want to say try and build, because I really wasn't trying to build something. I was just trying to share my story
Yeah.
in case any other young person, because like I was like, every time I used to see these stories, it was older people and it resulted in death. It was like Google's mad dramatic. So
Yeah,
I
it
was
is.
like, I'm like, damn, there has to be a young person out there who has somebody going through this. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just para que la gente no me joda, and like, so people know what's up. Like, I'm gonna just go and just say what I got and just be real with it and just start showing and educating people around me and those, like, with those hashtags, like, oh, there's other people like me out there.
Mhm.
So when I started with the Fab NMO, which is just something I started playing around with, the amount of people and the amount of growth in a year, like, it was ridiculous. Like, I don't care about follows. I don't care about likes. I don't care about that stuff, because that's not what pays my bills. That doesn't build my self-esteem. That doesn't do anything for me. Like,
Yeah.
I really just share stuff out of my pure heart, because I feel like other people are going through this and they're even more embarrassed because they're not posting. Not because they're not posting about it, but maybe they're not sharing it, so their surrounding families know how to treat them.
Yeah.
Not that we got to be treated any type of way, but just know to be sensitive, right?
Yeah, compassion. And there's no one, they don't have no.
compassionate, but also not treat you like like tú eres frágil, like you're fragile. You know what I mean? Like, still treat me like me.
Or que I'm doing this to get some type of pettiness, or I'm
Yeah.
haciéndose. Yo, I've gotten that a lot. And it sucks, and I make it a point to get dressed up, to put makeup on it, to do my hair, and then to show, on the other hand, that I'm walking the way that I'm walking. Because just because I look okay and everything might be fine, it doesn't mean that my physical is what it is.
Yeah, but like, one thing doesn't have to affect the other. You, before this thing happened, you still was fabulous. You still was, walking around and looking pretty, nails done. Now you're dealing with this. That doesn't mean that takes away certain aspects of your life that you love doing. And it shouldn't. Even though it's harder now, like some days I understand you're like, I don't want to look pretty today, but you know what? I'm still gonna do it because this is what I like to do. I'm not gonna let this disease take away everything in my life that I love and who I am. It's a disease. I will deal with it, learn from it, and learn how to work through it with it.
Yeah, man. And the days that I've cried are way more of the days that I've smiled lately. You know what I'm saying? And when you were talking about your knee surgery, I told it like I didn't even know you had to think about walking until this happened. I was like, holy crap! Like I
Yeah.
have to look at the floor. I have to see
Yeah.
how I even raise my. I'm like, this is insane. Like this is something that people take for granted, and it's like,
Mhm.
wow, this is amazing, yo. It's amazing because you're learning how to live in a new set of eyes,
Yeah.
and you're
Right.
appreciating more things that you didn't even think about. And
Mhm.
and because of that, I push my kids to do things that they're not comfortable with. I'm like, babe, go do it, do it, do it, do this, do that, you
Mhm.
know, because like right now I see my life as a second chance in a
Mhm.
way that like, okay, I wasn't gonna die, but at least I get to live it again, sentimental wise, in a different way.
Yeah.
Even though physically, like I can't do some stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, like back to what you were asking me before, like things of how I found out. So basically, once I started the Fab and Mo Instagram and I started talking like out loud about it and was like, oh yeah, this and that. So many people started reaching out through DMs because nobody wants to like post anything.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
my DMs would wake up so full as soon as I posted something. Oh, I think I have this, or I have a, and I'm so glad I found somebody like you. What are you
Mhm.
taking as a medicine? And I would literally take the time because I wasn't doing anything at the time. I wasn't working. I was just home cooking, taking care of home. I would literally take the time to answer like literally 20 to like 25 DMs a day about, you know, what medicine I'm using or what canes I'm using or what catheters I'm using, because I ended up having to cath my urethra, my bladder, because of the disease. And so like
Yeah.
it's intimate stuff that I'm sharing, but at the same time I really don't care, because if you don't understand the normal of a body, that's not my problem,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
you
the
know.
reality of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then and there's stuff that people ask me that I still won't post about,
Yeah.
like the whole sex part of it, and like
Oh.
I'm like, oh no, I'm not there yet. Like relax.
But even with that, you work around
Yeah.
it. You know what
Like
I mean? Like,
There's a lot of things you have to work
there's
around.
still a lot
yeah.
to this that like people are just not ready to talk about, like myself. But I mean, like people are just in their own life are not ready to talk about, and so
Yeah.
man, I still post something and I'll get like another. And then the other thing too is I was doing it in English and Spanish, so I was getting people from Central America.
Mm.
Mm.
Oh, you know, with different dialects and stuff. Oh, what are you doing? ¿Cómo lo está haciendo?
Mm.
Who's your doctor? What do you think I should do? And then I was like, whoop, hold on, I'm not a doctor.
You're not a
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm the patient telling you I want to get sued.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the patient telling you what I'm doing, and this is what's working for me at the moment. I don't know what your situation is.
Yeah. Everybody has a different body
And
too.
then like it just came to mind, like so many projects have come to mind, but I'm just like, I need to get physically better in order for me to realize these projects and my new
Yeah.
calling in life, I guess.
How about the you just recently had surgery,
Mhm.
and how is that? What's the progression of that? Because it was a month
Okay,
ago, to
so
be exact.
the surgery I got is a baclofen pump,
Okay.
and I basically look like I'm pregnant again because it's like right next to the belly button.
Okay.
It's because my legs, both of my legs, were so hard and spasm. Within 4 years, I haven't used my muscles, like my quads, my hamstrings. I haven't
Okay.
used them, even though I've been walking like a stick hard. I haven't used them because I'm not bending and doing the
Mm.
Oh.
movement and using the muscles that you're supposed to use. So I was taking baclofen pills, I was taking tizanidine, a whole bunch of pills, and
Mm.
then I started getting Botox injection into the thighs to
Oh
try and
wow.
loosen up the muscle. I was like, yo, can you put some in my face too while you got
You
it?
need it, boo.
Come on, if there's any bit of left over, can you put it
I
right
think I need to get put something back there. Every time I would go, I was like, yeah, but like the syringe is my blood, like put it in.
here?
So fine, he and that doctor was like, "Yo, you need to get a pump," and I'm like, "Ain't nobody getting no damn pump. Like, do you not know I wear high waisted jeans? That thing was not even closed. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't fit with my fashion. Like, that's not cute. Who the hell wants to get a pump?" And also, like, you got like a cut in your stomach, and I'm like, "You gonna pay for that tattoo? Like, I ain't getting no damn pump." And then, so then I started becoming like very like just savvy as a patient. I'm like, so how much are you getting if I get the pump? Like
Yeah.
how much is your check? Because I want 10%. And they're like, oh, we don't get anything. I'm like,
Mm.
I'm like, if you give me this medicine, how much did you get? Because I want some of that money. Because I'm the paycheck that's walking around for you. I'm the important bitch in the room. I'm the reason you're getting paid. If I wasn't sick, you would not be getting paid. So what are we doing here? And people like these doctors always laugh at me. I'm like, I'm not joking. Like you got a job because of me, basically. Like I'm like, this is why when I started realizing like doctors were acting like God, I was like, first of all, if it wasn't for me being sick, you would not be getting a check. So let's be real. I'm the important bitch in the room, you know? So after the Botox injection, I had my last one in August of this year. And my husband went to me with that appointment. And my husband's always pushing me to try new things and do new things. And I'm like, no, because you're not the one that's getting sick off of it. You're not the one that's gaining weight. You're not the one that's throwing up when you get a new medication. But he goes with me to this appointment. And the doctor's like, you really should consider the pump. I really feel like you'll benefit from it. And I was like, again, how much you
What does
pay?
it do? Like what is it going to relieve for you in the long run?
Then when we went to the appointment, he explained to me and my husband. He's explained this to me a lot of times, but I just don't want to listen.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like a size of a hockey puck, and it goes under your skin, over your fat. That was another thing I gotta tell you. I was like, y'all can do a liposuction at the same time, like. Like you already got a cut.
Yo, you want mad discounts on Botox, liposuction. I mean, hey, you gotta ask. They're already there. Why not?
I was like, we're already in the operating room. I was like, I will for sure do it if y'all do a lipo at the same time. So basically, the pump goes under your skin, over your fat, and then from the pump there's a catheter that goes into your spinal cord, and it shoots medicine like 24 hours a day. And it's less medicine than the actual pill itself. Because I was taking the baclofen pill, but then I was taking it so much that it would cause me like GI issues. I was throwing up, like all the side effects in the book. I was getting. So I just dealt with the pain and the spasticity. So basically, he's like, if you do this, you're gonna be so loose that you're not gonna know how to like. You're gonna be so alleviated because the problem was that the spasm was waking me up from my sleep. Like my leg would twitch, or like I'll be talking here with you, and I'll be like, whoop. Oh, wow. Like it was just like weird. So I was like, you know what? Fine, let's do a trial. And the trial basically they put an injection into your spinal cord for a day, and it's a 24-hour medication that goes into your body to see if it even works. I was like, okay. And then my neuro was like, oh yeah, and let's get a spinal tap while you're at it, since they're gonna go into your spinal cord. I was like, oh hell no. So I was like trying to be a big girl about it. But literally this was on a Monday that it happened. I was crying from like Friday, the weekend before. I was like, I don't want to do this. Oh my God. And my husband's like, si tú estás tan pendeja, cancel that. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it because I gotta do it, because I have to do it, because I want to get better. He's like, no, but you acting like a bandeja. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go? Or you're not gonna go? It was like such an emotional weekend. Like I cried all weekend. I was like, oh my God, my back. I'm like, what if they mess me up and I really go into a wheelchair? Like you
of course.
So the day of the trial came, and I swear to God, these doctors always have a student doctor, like a student with them.
Yeah.
Because no, they're not gonna do anything. They're just gonna observe the student like doctor that was in there. What is it called? The residents. Yeah. It was like doing the spinal tap on me. I'm like, nobody told me we're gonna do the spinal tap, and they already had my back, like. Oh no. And I was like, and the nurse in front of me, I'm like, nobody told me that the freaking student was gonna do this. Oh no, she's been doing this for 3 years already. I'm like, oh, don't give a fuck. Hurry up. She didn't get it the first time. So then the real doctor had to come in and do it. And then they put the injection in.
Are you fucking serious?
Yo, I'm already like, John, when I see like residents, I'm like, get out of here. Get out of here. I am not your guinea pig. You got way too other guinea pigs out there. I'm not that. So when they put the injection in, I immediately felt a burning sensation going down my thigh, like from my waist down. And I was like, oh my God, what's that feeling? And my legs were so loose that I cried. Like I couldn't bend. Like this was my leg. I couldn't bend. I couldn't do anything. Like, in order for me to bend, my husband would literally have to punch the crap out of behind my knee to be able to bend. And it wouldn't even hurt me because I was so stiff. And I have all this, documented, like, all these videos and stuff, because I'm planning, obviously, to do like a YouTube to try to help people. And I literally cried. I was like, oh my God, my legs are bending. Like, this is for real? Like, oh my God. And they were like, he was like, you see? You need to get a baclofen pump. I was like, really?
I'll think about it.
He's like, are you really gonna take it? So my husband, who was there, and my husband's like, do it, negra. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, it was just emotional. It was crazy. Yeah. But the fact that I saw my leg bend and that the possibility is there, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. But I was so
feel now that you got it.
So I got it on November 2nd. I wasn't really nervous for the surgery. Nobody explained to me the process of after you get it. So I literally feel nice and loose, way too loose. I don't even know how to act, how to walk. Like, I thought I would be working for New Year's. I don't think that's gonna happen because I still can't stand on my own like that. But I had a really bad spinal leak, which causes a bad headache. Like, I couldn't even elevate. I was in bed for 6 days straight. I couldn't even, like, I lost like 10 pounds because I had all the side effects, and I had to get a blood patch and a whole bunch of things. And then I went to a rehab center to kind of teach me a little bit of how to handle myself in the house. Because now I'm like, oh my God, I'm not hard. Like, I can bend my knees. And so, funny story, my wax lady she comes to my house. Nice. And usually it takes her like 2 hours to like wax me. So she was like, oh, pero mija, you're good now. Like, it took me half an hour to like wax you and do all this. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's been an emotional roller coaster because I don't know how to act. I don't know how to feel. Like, I felt comfortable being like stiff. I need to find my new comfortable, and it just sucks because here we go emotionally again on this roller coaster of what's my new norm.
Yeah, it just seems like, man,
this discovery every time of something new for you.
Yeah, but also this like frustration of like one thing works, but then there's a side effects that I have to it's like give and take. I'm loose, but then I'm also have to deal with all these side effects. And it's like, so they won't tell you that, like, you're learning this as you go. So it's like there's a price for everything that you're relearning and rediscovering, and then learning how to live with those side effects. It's like, wow, I got rid of this other stuff. Now I got to deal with this, but man, I got this now. But so I love this, how I'm feeling. And I, that's very
admirable.
Yes, and inspiring, and it's tough. And there was one thing I wanted to ask you before we move on to our last segment for the interview. On your bad days, because I read, you said you do have there's some good days and there's some bad days. I want to know, on those bad days that where you felt like not giving up, but like where you're just really down and out, what is something that helps you to lift your spirits back up, or you just dwell in it and allow yourself to, like, today was a shitty day and tomorrow will be different. Maybe tomorrow might be shitty, but I'm just not feeling it. What are those moments for you? What do you do in those moments?
So I feel like that's a learning process, right? You kind of have to learn your mental and how you handle your mental, because not everybody is strong and not everybody's weak. We all have our days, right? I am proud to say that I have yet to take a depression medication. I don't take nothing. I don't do no side thing to like medicate no. I have maybe I have a margarita or something and like cry it out, talk shit. But I don't do that because I really feel like I'm blessed to be alive. And I'm not like a churchy person like that, but like I've learned to pray and talk to God throughout this journey, something that I've never even grew up on. Not that my parents didn't take me to church or anything, but in the beginning, I wouldn't allow myself to have a bad day. I was like, hell no, bitch, you better get up and you better do something, like get up, and then get your mental somewhere else so you forget about it. But then when those days really came, I had to learn how to accept those days, cry it out. Like yesterday. Yesterday I had a bad day. I woke up. I knew I was gonna have a bad day because my body wasn't feeling me, even though my mental was like, "Come on, girl, let's go." And I was all right. I didn't have the best day yesterday, but I allowed myself to rest, to hydrate, to be able to watch Netflix and chill or whatever, watch TV, and learning. That was the hardest thing because being such a busy person, learning how to just chill was not easy. Like learning how to like just order out and not cook and just take it easy. Like I had to learn how to do that. A lot of people already like that. No, I had to learn how to relax. I had to learn how to chill, how not to worry about where like what am I gonna do next? Oh, laundry is not done. Well, oh well, too bad. Like it's so much because at the end of the day, like I'm still a wife and I still gotta make sure that there's food, whether I order it, whether I get a friend to come and cook for me. I still gotta make sure laundry is done for my kids. My kids are 5 and 10. 5 and 10. They don't understand. The older one saw me all the way till his age 5 be a normal mom and walk. And then he's seen me decline. So he knows that mommy's been going through something. But the little one, that little brat, he don't care. He's seen me from the beginning, like, struggling. Okay? So he's like, oh, whatever. He'll grab an Oreo or, like, a cookie, and he'll be like, you can't catch me, huh? He's done that.
And that's when you take your stick and fucking throw it at him.
Oh, that's when I got that chancleta punteria. So it's been emotional, and I've also had to take the time to talk to my older one and be like, listen, the day that I'm crazy, it's because mentally, papi, I'm having a bad day, or there's something that our parents, or at least my parents, didn't do with me. Like, mira, I'm having a bad day. I'm sorry. My mom will never say I'm sorry to me. Like, you crazy. It was like un boche and that's it. Bye. So like I'm also taking the time to explain to my child or my so they can understand, hey, mommy did this, mommy did that. But I will say, before the surgery, I didn't have a wheelchair. I just had like a walker maybe here and there. After surgery, I came home in a wheelchair because I don't know how to walk on my legs though. Like I'm still doing PT. I came home with all these like accessories that I was like, oh hell no, I would never have that. Like now I have it. And slowly but surely, like I'm not in the wheelchair anymore. So I'm walking with my walker. And like it's just like little baby steps and little victories that I noticed that I'm like, oh my God, I just took a shower by myself. Like nobody had to see, because I'm like, I swear to God, everybody and their mother saw me naked in the hospital. Because I was like, oh my God, it just la vergüenza se te pierde. I don't even know what's the English word for vergüenza.
Embarrassment. Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't have vergüenza. I was like, whatever. So really, this is the real test on your mental, and like I'm really proud to be like, I'm not taking anything antidepressant. Not that that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but I think I've been able to be, like I don't need it. And I've been able to be strong enough to be like, you know what, bitch, get up. Because a lot of people are dying and something's happening to this person and somebody just got shot and COVID's going on. Okay, by the way, I came home from the hospital and my immediate family all gets COVID. So nobody can come help me around the house. Oh, so I was like, what? Like, how am I supposed to get food and cook? Like, you guys, I was counting on you guys for when I came home from the hospital, especially with the remote learning going on. Yeah. It's a damn mess. It's a damn mess, but it's one day at a time. Yeah. And we never know what tomorrow happens. So.
So now we're gonna move forward to
the last segment.
Our last segment of the interview is called "Let's Look Inside," and these are just like a couple questions that we have, and then like whatever comes to mind. It could be a short answer, a long answer. Just whatever comes. And the first question is,
what do you love about yourself?
I don't let me fall. Good. I'm in pain as shit right now. I'm like.
Nice.
Like, ya tengo un dolor ahí.
And you probably took a pee and doodle on yourself. I didn't even know.
I'm not doing that no more. We're over that stage.
Last question, and you can relieve your pain. What do you think is the meaning of your life?
The meaning of my life is to teach, be teachable, and just be an example. I just think it's being an example for anybody going through something, which is whether it's short-term disability, long-term disability, and really fabularize the word disability, okay? Because that word, people be looking at me, and I'm like, I know. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
This last one is a reflection card, and I shuffled it and just picked one. And there's 2 questions on this. I'm just gonna read them. I don't know what it is, so once you hear it, you answer it. Who in your life are you most grateful for?
Well, first of all, God. Second of all, my mother and my husband. My husband of 11 years. This is truly through thick and thins. We had our fun when we were younger. Now he's taking care of me, and especially now that I can't have people over because my family has COVID and friends and all this stuff. My husband has been my rock, yo. Like this man, when I tell you that I was like down, this man was like, toma el maquillaje. Yeah, my husband is my rock, and my mom is a great supporter.
And then the other question is, what are you grateful for right now?
Man, I'm grateful to be alive. I don't really care if I'm in a wheelchair or not. The fact that I get to enjoy my kids and just, spend I'm grateful to be alive. Life, like people do not realize how sensitive life is.